Simon's Farm Adventure, written and illustrated by Janet Klahach-Tunin. Simon's family was going to go swim in a new pond. Mama Duck gave each of the ducklings the same instructions. Stay together and follow the duckling ahead of you. Simon was last, behind his sister Krista. She liked to waddle fast, so he would have to hurry to keep up. It was fun to look at the things along the way. Otherwise, the only thing he saw was the back of Krista's head as she toddled on in front of him. The closer the family got to the new pond, the thicker the grassy reeds became. Simon could hear the quacks and honks of other duck and geese families ahead. Suddenly, the long grass whipped from side to side as another duck family crossed their path. For just a moment, Simon lost sight of Krista's fuzzy round yellow head. He pushed through the reeds and followed the first little yellow duckling ahead of him. The hike seemed to get easier as the grass became shorter. Suddenly, Simon saw a huge animal he'd never seen before. It was eating the grass as it stared back at him. Simon called out, "What do you suppose that animal is?" The duckling ahead of him hollered back, "It's a cow. Her name is Belle." Up ahead, he saw more animals in a big red building with white trim. He was excited to see what animals they were. Some of the animals were playing in the mud. "The pigs look pretty muddy today," said the duckling ahead of Simon. The voice of that duckling didn't quite sound like Krista. Soon the ducks arrived at their destination. It wasn't a pond. It was a farm. Simon realized he'd followed the wrong duckling in the reeds earlier. Back at the pond, Sydney met Simon's family. He asked Mama Duck where Simon was. She turned around and discovered that she was missing one of her ducklings. Mama Duck remembered that earlier they had almost collided with a family of tame ducks in the tall reeds. They were from the farm. Krista felt terrible. She and Sydney decided that they would go over to the farm. Mama Duck would stay with the rest of the ducklings and keep looking around the pond. At the farm, Simon began to panic. How would we get back to his family? He needed to ask the farm animals for help. Simon sat down to think. He could feel a tear forming in his eye. Did his family know he was gone? Would they wait at the pond for him? Suddenly, a big furry creature came bounding around the barn, followed by a cow. The creature's big paws stopped just short of stepping on Simon. As Simon looked up in surprise, the creature licked his whole head with its giant, wet tongue, wiping away his tear. For a second, he wasn't sure if the creature was tasting him or trying to comfort him. Either way, his tear was gone. Hi, my name is Joe, and this is Belle. We live here on the farm. Happily, Joe asked, "What's your name?" My name is Simon. I'm here by mistake. I need to get back to my family, Simon explained. Maybe we can help. Where's your family? Asked Joe. They were at the pond, but I don't know if they will still be there. They may not wait for me to come back. Simon could feel another tear in his eye. Joe scooped Simon up onto his back. Hold tight to my collar. Belle and I will take you back to the pond. Off the three went in search of Simon's family. It was a bouncy ride for Simon. Joe liked leaping over the tall grass to keep up with Belle. Ahead, he saw a bear and a little duck winding their way through the reeds. Simon shouted, "There are my pals Sidney and my sister Krista." He let go of Joe's collar to wave his wings at them. Sidney could see the cow and his pal riding the big furry dog. "Look, it's Simon!" exclaimed Sidney. He and Krista ran to greet them. Joe took a huge leap and landed on top of Sidney. As he tried to get up, Joe licked Sidney and Krista's faces. "This is how dogs greet their friends," said Joe. Belle gave Sidney and Krista a ride back to the pond, followed by Joe and Simon. Mama Duck was happy to see Simon and Krista. She threw her wings around them. They waved goodbye to Joe and Belle and promised to visit the farm again someday on purpose instead of by mistake.